What's up everybody, it's June 22nd, 2016 and it's time for today's episode of Level Up, our daily video game news show where we bring you the latest and greatest stories from within the industry as they break. Today we're going to kick off with some more news about GTA Online. It's that platform that Rockstar just keep on giving us that more free content to. Really good how they continue to support this platform, and no wonder when they've sold over 65 million units of the game. So today's latest update is going to be called Power Play. It's a new addition to their adversary mode where it's basically team against team, and as the name may indicate, there are some power-ups that you can get which will help either make your team stronger or make your other team weaker. Kind of like Mario Kart kind of style. So as you go around the map, you'll see these things like Beasted, which transform your teams like kind of super beast mode. You've got zoned, where all of your players will everything will like slow down, so that will help people like snipers. You'll get doped, which will make all of your enemies' senses go into like this weird kind of haze, so they won't actually see you coming. Raging is, as you would probably expect, you kind of go rampage style, obviously familiar with GTA stuff. You've got flipped, which will scramble your opponent's aiming by inverting their cameras and also kind of mixing their team chat so they can't communicate properly. And then dark, where your players go completely off the radar so they can't see you. So those all look really cool. You'll have seen in the trailer kind of some of the modes being played out. But in addition to this, they're also adding a new car, a new supercar called the Grotti X80 Proto Supercar. You see a picture of it right there. It looks absolutely fantastic. That will be available to buy from the legendary motorsport shopping game. No doubt it will be crazy expensive, but it's good news for you because in celebration of this new mode, new update, Rockstar giving you double GTA dollars, double RP for the whole week up until June 27th to celebrate this new mode. And in addition to that, there are going to be discounts in the game store for certain air and sea vehicles. So make sure you check all that out. I'm sure a lot of you still play this game. Like I said, it's got millions of players, and really good that the platform keeps on living. Moving on to a game that's not out yet, it's a little bit further on the horizon, but we did see it at PSX, and that was the new God of War. So we saw a little bit of a trailer of Kratos with what appears to be his son. We talked about how it looks like it's going to be in a slightly different setting, so it's almost like a reboot of the franchise. They have confirmed that this is not going to be the last we see of Kratos, which is probably not that surprising because if they're rebooting the franchise, maybe they're hoping for it to kind of continue its life on the PS4. But more importantly, they have said that there will be no multiplayer mode in the new God of War. So those of you that maybe enjoyed the multiplayer mode that we saw in Ascension, you'll be out of luck. This is purely going to be a single player experience, which to me is absolutely fine. I couldn't really care less about multiplayer, and I'm glad that these studios they're not forcing multiplayer into games that doesn't really need to be there. I mean, God of War, you don't think of God of War as a multiplayer game, so take all your time, focus on that story. Really excited to play it. If you haven't watched the full gameplay footage from PSX yet, make sure you go over and check that out. It looks really fantastic. So whilst this is a game that we will be getting in the future, one game that now we definitely won't be getting is the latest game from Criterion. Last we saw them, they were in the midst of making an extreme sports game. We saw it premiere at E3 in 2014, and it looked like it was going to be very similar to the game Steep that we saw at Ubisoft's press conference, kind of the paragliding, wingsuit, snowboarding, skiing. We saw these kind of things in the original premiere of that E3 2014 trailer of this untitled game. It looked like it was going to have helicopters, ATVs, planes, jet skis, wingsuits, more. It looked pretty cool, but what Criterion are now focusing on, which seems to be nearly every EA studio right now, is they are going over to help with Star Wars products, Star Wars IP. So it's a shame that this game's been cancelled, I suppose, because it did look cool when we saw it a couple of years ago. To be honest, I'd completely forgotten they were making it. But like I said, for those of you who are looking for an extreme sports game, you don't need to worry too much because we do have Steep from Ubisoft coming later this year, which hopefully will live up to expectations. Next up, for you fighting fans out there, I know I'm not a big fighting fan, I'm sure I've said it on many Game of the Week shows, but the guys over who brought us Mortal Kombat, and also they brought us the Injustice series. You may know them as NetherRealm Studios. They've been talking about where their future plans may lie. We know that they're currently making Injustice 2. We saw a trailer for that just before E3. But they've kind of been speaking to a game before and talking about that maybe there could be a third game they could be looking to make in the future. And that would maybe be a fighting game that included film or movie bad guys, horror characters, which I really, really like the idea of. We've seen in the past that they have been able to get certain characters as DLC. We've seen the likes of Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface, Xenomorph from Alien. All of those characters really, really cool. And I would love to see a fighting game with just all of the horror movie guys. You know, maybe get Scream in there and all this stuff. That would be really cool, because one thing that NetherRealm do really well is their games always look fantastic. They might not be the best fighting games out there, but they look really good. Their set pieces are really good. They've really built up their finishers, as it were. So I'd love to see a good video game with these characters, and I think it'd be really, really cool. So obviously this is no confirmation that it's going to happen, but a good thing to look out for. Maybe, like I said, they've purchased some of these characters for DLC, so maybe they do own the video gaming rights for those characters. Maybe it's something we can see as a standalone in the future. And talking of DLC, last but not least, I know some of you out there are not always happy with DLC and the price of DLC. Well, look at it this way. It could always be worse. Here's a fun little story to end today on. We're talking about some DLC for a game called Hayden Labs. So this is an old school kind of text adventure game where the game is played by you entering text and typing commands. So they've added some DLC, which is currently on Steam for $35 or £22. And it's literally just a PDF. That's all it is. You get a download of a PDF of a certificate, an in-game solo promise certificate, which basically says that I will complete this game without using a guide or without using cheats. And I think they've loaded it up as a bit of a joke, and it's quite funny. They've basically said it's never going on sale. If anything, they're going to increase it in price. So obviously it's a little tongue-in-cheek thing about people out there that kind of release things as DLC and all these pre-order bonuses and stuff like that. But I just thought it was quite a funny story to end on. So if you want to support their vision and their joke, then go and spend $35 on their PDF. But it could look at it this way. You know, all that DLC we get for Star Wars, we get for Fallout, it could cost a lot more and it could have a lot less. So there we go. There's today's news for June 22nd. Make sure you come back tomorrow for all of the latest news in the video game industry. Also, don't forget to leave your comments down below. What do you think about the new GTA update? Are you going to play it? Are you disappointed that Criterion's game's been cancelled? And are you looking forward to God of War? Or what would you think about a video game with horror movie villains? Let me know down below. But for now, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will see you all next time.